in the Senate earlier this week, we moved for an order for production of documents, which is like an FOI request that MPs get to do. And we asked for the documents that would show whether money had changed hands on the high seas, whether our government was using taxpayer money to pay effectively people smugglers, potentially engaging in what is now a crime, that this government made a crime. And the answer that we got yesterday was, go away, we're not going to tell you. That's a matter of national security. It's not in the public interest for you to know the answer to those questions. Well, clearly our definition of the public interest is very different from Tony Abbott's definition. And so today we're trying again to try and get some transparency and some answers by moving for a Senate inquiry to try and establish what on earth happened out there on those high seas. I mean, this whole thing, the Prime Minister could just simply say, no, we didn't pay them, and the whole debate would end. The fact that they still haven't, a week on, after some initial confusing responses from the ministers responsible, then contradicted by the Prime Minister, they still refuse to just say, no, we didn't. So you can only conclude that they did. And why are they not giving us the documents to show what happened? There is just secrecy from woe to go in asylum seeker policy in this country. And if we had a Senate inquiry like we're moving for today, and hopefully we will get support from that from Labor and the crossbench, we can get to the bottom of what happened and what our taxpayer dollars are being used for.
I guess this goes to a question of how power operates and how much authority Parliament has. Can you get to the bottom of it? I mean, isn't the government simply able to say, look, this is ASIS, this is national security, we are not going to tell, a Senate committee about what's going on?
Well, that'll be a battle of who's got the bigger rule book, won't it? There's protection for witnesses to give evidence in Senate inquiries, so it may well be that whistleblowers within those departments and organisations who want to come forward and let the truth be known can then avail themselves of that protection from prosecution, which of course, incidentally, this government wants to take away. As we know, in offshore detention centres, they want to change the rules and make whistleblowing a criminal offence. Thankfully, they haven't gotten that through the Parliament yet, so the Senate inquiry is a chance for people to come forward. There's also some powers of compulsion of documents that the government will say, well, no, we're not going to, and I'm sure there'll be some kind of standoff. The simple thing for the Prime Minister to do would just be to say, this is what happened. If the money didn't change hands, end of story. We can go back to focusing on how much they can't stand asylum seekers and are locking up women and children. But right now, it looks like we have a government that's engaged in people trafficking.